There's this person. You've probably met them before. Maybe at work, maybe in school, maybe they were sitting right next to you and you barely notice them. They don't talk much. They don't brag. They don't walk into a room trying to own it. But months later, sometimes years later, you find out they got the promotion. They built the company. They figured out what they wanted and just quietly went and got it. And you're standing there thinking, wait, when did that happen? Here's what most people never stop to ask. Why does that keep happening? Why is it always the quiet ones? And the answer isn't what you think. It's actually a lot more fascinating. Section 1. The noise trap. Okay, so think about a typical office meeting. There's always that one person who talks the most, loudest opinions, most confident delivery, always has something to say. And people naturally assume this person knows what they're doing. That's not a coincidence. Our brains are literally wired to do that. There's a cognitive bias called the availability heuristic. Basically, if something is loud and visible, your brain treats it as more important and more credible. It's automatic. You don't choose to think that way, it just happens. So naturally, in a world built on social media, self-promotion, and personal branding, the loud person wins. Right? Not exactly. Because there's something quietly happening on the other side of the room that most people completely miss. Section 2. What silence actually does to your brain. There's a study out of NYU, and this one genuinely surprised me when I first read it. They found that when people talked about their goals to others, they actually became less likely to achieve them. Not more, less. The reason is almost embarrassingly simple. When you tell someone your goal and they respond positively, your brain registers a small hit of satisfaction, like you've already done something, and that feeling quietly kills your drive. The quiet overachiever never gets that hit, so they keep going. Psychologists call this implementation intention. Basically, when your energy goes into doing instead of announcing, your follow-through goes way up. And this isn't just a motivation trick. It changes how your brain actually processes the goal. It becomes internal, personal, almost protective. You're not doing it for the reaction. You're doing it because it means something to you. And that distinction, right there, is massive. Section 3. The listener advantage. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. When you're quiet in a room, people underestimate you. And honestly, that's a superpower. People show you their cards. They say things they wouldn't say to someone they saw as competition. They fill the silence, because humans are uncomfortable with silence. And they reveal more than they intended to. Meanwhile, you're just listening, processing, building a complete picture. There's a concept in psychology called strategic self-presentation. The idea that controlling how much you reveal about yourself gives you an enormous social and professional advantage. Think about the best negotiators, the sharpest people in any room. They're rarely the ones doing the most talking. They ask a question, they go quiet. They let the other person talk themselves into a corner. It looks effortless from the outside, but it's actually a deeply developed skill. And it usually starts in people who learned early on that listening was more valuable than performing. Section 4. The part nobody romanticizes. Now, I want to be real with you for a second. Being a quiet overachiever isn't some magical personality type where everything works out perfectly. There's a real cost to it. A lot of quiet high achievers deal with something called imposter syndrome. That voice in the back of your head that says, "You're not actually that good, you've just been lucky." Eventually, someone's going to figure that out. And because they don't seek validation, they often don't receive it either, even when they've clearly earned it. There's also an isolation piece that's easy to overlook. Moving in silence sounds cool, but sometimes it means moving alone, missing collaborations, missing connections that could have changed everything, just because opening up felt unnecessary or uncomfortable. And I also want to be clear about something. Not every quiet person is a hidden genius. And not every loud person lacks depth. That's an oversimplification, and it's just not true. What we're really talking about is a specific pattern, and understanding it, whether you live it or just recognize it in someone around you, changes how you see people. So why does this matter? Because we live in a culture that constantly tells you to be louder, post more, Share more. Be more visible. Make sure people know what you're doing. And there's a time and place for that, genuinely. But there's also something to be said for the person who just puts their head down, does the work, doesn't need the room to know about it, not because they're shy, not because they're insecure, but because they've figured out something that takes most people years to learn. The work is the point, not the applause. And when you stop chasing the applause, something weird happens. You get sharper, calmer, more focused, and the results start speaking so loudly that you don't have to say a word. The quietest person in the room isn't invisible. They're just not done yet. If this video made you think, even for a second, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow and reach people who need to hear this stuff. And if you want more videos on human psychology, behavior, and what's actually going on inside people's heads, subscribe to Psych Decoded. New video every week. Now I'm genuinely curious, are you a quiet overachiever? Or have you been seriously underestimating someone quiet in your life? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.